Okay, it's a Saturday morning, a very good Saturday morning. Good morning, and welcome to another edition of Drive Time Radio. I am your pal, your buddy, your Mariner watching friend, New York Vinnie, here with you solo on Saturday morning as we do an hour of talk about cars and the automotive business and what's going on, what's happening in that business. And we give you a couple of reviews on cars. So we package up a nice little show for you on Saturday morning. We call it Drive Time. Um, we do this every Saturday morning on or about 11 o'clock. Sometimes we're out. Sometimes we're here in the studio. We're in the studio, my apartment. That's the studio. But, we do our show and we try to give you some information about cars. And sometimes we weave in other stuff that's going on in the world. And if you live in Seattle or you have ever lived in Seattle since 1977, or you're somebody who has been around the baseball world, you know that there is I guess you could call it a little bit of a miracle happening here in Seattle, in that the Mariners, a very good baseball team, is battling the Toronto Blue Jays, another very good baseball team, for the right to go to the World Series and take on the Los Angeles Dodgers, who won their series with the Milwaukee Brewers, two other very good teams. But the Dodgers proved to be much more sustainable in their goodness than the Brewers did. Now, I was hoping for a Brewers Mariners World Series for purely selfish reasons. I've never liked the Milwaukee Brewers because I always felt that they, in some way, left Seattle under shady circumstances. Teams always seem to want to leave Seattle under shady circumstances. They weren't the best of circumstances, and I wasn't there, so I don't know who was right and who was wrong. And in the words of one of my favorite characters in NYPD Blue, everything's a situation. It was Sergeant Martens of Internal Affairs. But, you always you don't know the whole story. So a lot of times, we used to just, if you didn't know the whole story, just shut up. But now in these days of social media, who has to shut up? You just put down what you think, and some people will take it for fact. Other people will take it you know, for uh, for some kind of wild conjecture. Where that falls, you don't know. And really, to be honest with you, I don't think many people that are on social media care about where their opinions fall and who it affects. I just don't think it's built like that. Social media, it's a caring thing. So anyway, make a long story short, I wanted to see the Mariners and the Brewers, and then I wanted to see the Brewers get it taken to them by the Mariners, so that the new team, the team that stuck here, the team that weathered it out uh, through a whole bunch of problems that was presented in the first year, or second year, or third year, or many years since then, was able to figure out a way to get through it and win the hearts of a city, the baseball hearts of a city. Uh, so that's the story with the Mariners and the Brewers. The Dodgers, they're easy to hate for much the same reason that I hate. And I hate to use that word hate, but hate in the baseball sense of the word, not hate like pick up a gun and start threatening people, but just I have a deep dislike for. I don't want to. I don't want to see them win anything, and I feel that way with the Dodgers because the Dodgers broke my father and many other people's hearts in Brooklyn when they, boogied out for California in 1957, 58, really. Um, but then sometimes I say to myself, well, wait a second, Vinny, aren't you a hypocrite? You also left New York for California at some point. And I say, yes, I did. But I didn't take, a million people's hearts with me. So there is that. But let's get back to the Mariners. The Mariners came home with a 2-game lead over the Toronto Blue Jays, their expansion cousins in the American League Championship Series, a best-of-7 series. And they are going back to Toronto, just needing to win one game. Out of the two that they'll play there, they just need to win one game. And they will be the American League champions. And they will go to a place that they have never gone before, the World Series. And I can't tell you how intense it is, how the town has been turned on its ear. Yes, there's a lot of doomed people. There's a lot of people saying, well, I'll never make it for one reason or other. They'll screw it up. And certainly last night when the Mariners fell behind by a run and Dan Wilson, the manager of the team, came out and removed his pitcher seemingly out of the blue, those feelings seemed to intensify. You could feel it growing in the vicinity. It was truly an amazing thing. You felt like the air. If you can feel air come out of a balloon, that's exactly what you felt last night when Dan Wilson took the starting pitcher out of the game. But let's give Dan Wilson a little credit. He sees things. It's like the pilots thing. They know more than I do. That we can rap and flap our gums and say everything, but nobody knows that team. Nobody knows the people on that team. Then nobody knows that situation better than the manager. Don't forget, he's sitting on the top step, leaning on the top step of the dugout. He sees things that I don't. He knows things that I don't. He has a tribunal of coaches, a college of coaches who are, telling him this doesn't look right, that doesn't look right, that looks okay, this looks okay. So he's getting more information from people who know more than I'll ever know about baseball. And he should be getting, and he's making the decisions. And I mean, for a while, it didn't look like a good decision. For a while, it really looked screwed. And I felt sorry for him. Did he make this major, huge mistake? And did he, did he virtually throw away his chances of winning the series and going to the World Series? But he didn't. We had a hero. As many times happens in these types of situations, when you need a hero, one steps up. One comes out of the clear blue sky, swoops down, and brings joy and laughter into the hearts of the 45,000 people gathered at T-Mobile Park last night, and the millions that were watching it around the world, the millions that were watching this game from, Missoula, Montana, and Boise, Idaho, and Spokane, Washington, and New York, New York, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I mean, I had friends calling me up last night from Pittsburgh who were rooting for the Mariners. The Mariners, don't look now, but the Mariners have become America's team. The Mariners have become this thing outside of Seattle that people in this country are rooting for. I mean, I'm getting calls from, as I said, all over the country from people who are just absolutely head over heels in love with the big dumper and Eugenio and Nails. He's a huge favorite. People are loving this guy, uh, Josh Naylor. By the way, I had to get something to celebrate. So I got myself a big bottle of chocolate milk in the bottle. There's nothing like it in the world. There's no drink that you can come up with that is more beautiful, more satisfying than chocolate milk. Not non-fat too. I mean whole milk from the Twin Brook Creamery up in Linden, Washington. Look at that. Chocolate on the bottom, although I gave it a good shake before I poured it. And I mean, it's nothing that satisfies as much as chocolate milk in the bottle and served in a beautiful Mariner's glass that a friend of mine gave me just before the playoffs. And I've been using them almost exclusively during the playoffs. Excuse me. I mean, it tastes like a milkshake. It's spectacular. If you want to cheer your mood up and you're not you don't have bad reactions to this kind of stuff, get yourself a bottle of Twin Brook fat loaded chocolate milk and scarf that down. Ice cold too. Anyway, as I talk to people around the country, I just see how much this team has taken the fancy of this country. And it's not a Canadian American thing. It's not that. It's just that I think, and I don't know for sure. I mean, I'm not a pollster. I haven't been out there, running polls on who you're rooting for and why. But I think they're still listening in us as Americans that love to see hardworking people attain success. And I don't think that anybody can argue that the Mariners appear to be and are a hardworking group of guys who are going from a national joke to a contender. Matter of fact, more than a contender. They're going from a national joke to a champion, to somebody that people are going to root for different reasons. Many will root because, they've never been to the World Series before, and that's something that should be attainable for them. They have a good ball club. Some people are rooting for the big dumper because he has that everyman kind of appeal to him. Some people are rooting for the Mariners because they remember Ken Griffey Jr. Many people in the Northwest are rooting for the Mariners because they remember Dave Niehaus and they remember his legendary calls and his his being one of the last veteran spielers, as it might be, to call the game. And how, and the interesting story is how much Dave still, all these years after his passing, still has this incredible affection from the franchise, from the fans of the franchise and the franchise itself. I mean, it appears to me that the owners of the Mariners, and I don't know this for a fact, but it appears to me that the owners of the Mariners treat the Niehouses well. They make sure they get tickets. They make sure they get, good seats. They make sure that that Mrs. Niehaus and Dave's family, his daughters and sons, all get a chance to come and see these games and bring that spirit of what Dave meant to this club. And for those of you who weren't around this club when Dave Niehaus was the voice of the Mariners, he brought for all those years that the Mariners sucked, he was the one constant. He was the one thing that you could turn on the radio or on television and know that it was going to be all right. And know that, hey, we got baseball here in the Northwest. And that's something for many years, many people weren't sure was going to happen. And Dave's voice was the voice of reassurance. It draped over us like a warm blanket on a cold night. It really did. When I was a kid, I listened to Ralph Kiner, Lindsey Nelson, and Bob Murphy, and their voices had an effect on you. You listened, but you never had a thought that the Mets were going to leave town after the season. For many, many years, people thought that, even in 95, 97 when they played their first years playing in the post game, you never was quite sure if this team was going to be here the next year. And I remember somebody in the Mariners organization saying to me back in 97, I guess it was 96 or 97, when they had won, when they had signed the agreement that sealed the deal, that made sure that the ballpark was going to be built and the team was going to be here for, I forget how many, they signed a 50-year deal or what it was. But the load of psychology that the team would leave after the season was taken off the backs of the fans. And for the first time, they didn't have to worry if there was going to be a team playing here on opening day in April or March now, I guess sometimes this year. And I go into this history lesson only to make you realize what a huge thing this is up here in the Northwest, because this was the one piece to the puzzle that they could never seemingly put together to get to the World Series. They were close a couple of times. They brought in great players who, when they played here, weren't so great. And I can, point out a couple that are still playing. But they thought that this was a place where you could go and hide. And never realized that it was a place that you had to come and work. And maybe even work a little harder. Because it was tougher. It wasn't as easy to be a Mariner. You played in a ballpark that was not conducive to hitting. So if you had offensive numbers, it could quiet them down. It could humble you quickly. More than one player has found out that if you had offensive numbers, that this ballpark could intimidate you. If you were a home run hitter, this ballpark could intimidate you. And you had to be a certain kind of hitter to hit in this ballpark. So that's the story. So when you see the people here busted out in joy and elation, when you see a whole country, on all of these maps that they make about who's rooting for who, when you see the whole country start to root for the Mariners, these are part of the reasons why. It's not just that they're handsomer, they got nicer uniforms, they got this, they got that. There's a whole story of the underdog behind this. And personally, it does my heart good, really good, to see this happen. It restores some faith in America in me. You know, it makes me feel like people still realize when good teams come along that guys like Dan Wilson, who's not the loudest, brashest guy in the room, but is a man of faith, a man of hope, a good family man, a really good guy. That good things do happen to nice people. That good things do happen to the people that deserve them to happen. You know, it's easy to think these days that, you know, the rich people get everything. And yeah, I mean, you know, you're dealing with a bunch of rich people, but this is something that you feel that the fans are involved in, that there's an involvement with this team and fans that goes beyond just the normal. It's strangely, it's a lot like the Pirates. It's very analogous to the Pirates fans who have endured years and years and years and years of futility and yet still show up for their team, still show up for team promotions, still sell out the ballpark a few times a year. And I mean, they have even less hope than Mariner fans. But the stars seem to be aligned. The spirit of Dave Niehaus is imbued in everybody. And it just seems like, and listen, it could be a letdown. They could go to Toronto and lose too. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I just think that the Mariners, this time, this space, this place in time have what they need to get there. They've got pitching, they've got speed, they've got guys that really seemingly have an extreme will to win, and they have a little bit of mojo on their side, have a little bit of oomph on their side. So we'll have to see. They go to Toronto. They'll play tomorrow night. They have, two chances to win. Even if they lose tomorrow night, they can come back the next night, beat the Blue Jays, and go ahead and win. Go ahead and come back, and Seattle will have its first World Series. And as I've said before, I'll say it again, there is nothing like a World Series. It is the ultimate, I think, the ultimate sporting event. It's up to 7 days of pure insanity. Bars will be crowded. Restaurants will be crowded. Any place that has a TV will be crowded. My living room might be crowded. Although I'm going to try to find a place. You know, I watch these games mostly at home. And I think I got to go try to find a place outside. I got to be with people if this team gets into the World Series. Maybe even tomorrow night. I got to be with some people. I gotta commune this. I got to watch the game with my daughter, and that was a beautiful thing because she hasn't seen, she has seen the World Series, but she was young, and she's starting to get into, really get into baseball, much more than she had been. And it's fun to watch her wear the Mariner hat. She lives in Seattle. She's a Mariner fan. She is the Mariners is the franchise that she's been so associated with for a lot of the years of her life. So I'm hoping I get to take her to a World Series game. So they will. The moment last night was beautiful. People who are much more eloquent than me will hang words on it. It's already being touted as an instant classic, and it was, but you knew they were going to win it last night. You knew if you were watching that game last night that the Mariners were going to find a way to come back. They weren't going to go back to Toronto having lost 3 games at home. It just wasn't going to happen. No matter how they had to do it, and no matter what the situation was, you just felt like whether it was going to be an 18-inning thriller or it was going to be a 9-inning, do it and go and get on the plane. You just kind of knew that the Mariners were going to pull it out last night. And when they loaded up the bases and Suarez stepped up to the plate, you just had a feeling. You just had a feeling that the finger of fate, some call it the fickle finger of fate, was pointing its way toward the Mariners. It had that written all over it. It had Suarez, Eugenio Suarez name written all over a home run, or at least, I don't know even if it was a home run, but it had him doing something crucial in that moment. It had him doing something that was going to right the situation, that was going to make it better than it was when he stepped into the box. It had him, somebody was going to step up to that moment, and it had to be the guy that they brought back. It had to be the guy that probably never should have left here. It had to be the guy that that fans like, that has that appeal to him to a lot of different people. It had to be him. I guess it could have been the big dumper. It could have been this guy, could have been that guy. Each one would have had its own different set of appeals. Each one would have had its own set of reasons that you could point to that person and say, here's the guy that should be able to do it. I wouldn't argue with you on that. I'd give you that. And so it happened. And I don't know how it was just it was just an awesome moment in a baseball fan's life. It was an awesome moment in a Mariner fan's life, maybe the best moment of a Mariner fan's life, because it put Mariner fans closer to the prize than we've ever been before. And it set a wheel in motion. It's a call that you will remember for the rest of your life. It is a call that now goes with everybody scores. It's a call from the heavens. You want to believe that Dave Niehaus is moving his hand around and the karma is there, go ahead and believe it. That's the great thing about sports. You can believe whatever you want to believe. It's okay to believe that Dave is guiding the team if that's what you want to believe. Don't sell the fact short, though, that they put together a hell of a roster here. And they put together a roster that knows how to play the park, has gotten crucial base hits at crucial times, does not fear the moment, which I think might be the most important element of all. They do not fear the moment. And there's been some pretty incredible moments this postseason. Sorry, but it's just too delicious to let sit there. I strongly suggest that you go to a PCC or wherever you buy your groceries and get some chocolate milk in a bottle. Don't get it in a carton. Get it in the bottle. There's just something that tastes different about it. It has I don't know, maybe somebody that owns a dairy farm could tell us, could let us know why it tastes so different in the bottle. But it does. Or at least to my taste buds, it does. All right. So, got to figure out a place to watch the game tomorrow. Got to figure out. I haven't talked to my friend Mike Brown. I don't know if he is. He's doing anything tomorrow. He does those football parties. I don't know if he's got a baseball party going on as well, but we'll try to find out. And if I find out, I'll put it up on my Facebook and Instagram pages. So that is the front half of the show. Mariners now lead the series 3-2. They need one win out of two remaining games in Toronto to get the win, to go to the World Series, to light up this town sports-wise like I don't think it's ever been lit up before. Now, I totally believe that this town, I mean, I wasn't here in 79. So I don't know in 79 how the Sonics and their championship affected the city. I heard it was rocking. And the Seahawks championship was intense, was a parade and everything, but the championship, the game wasn't played here. See, that's what's so incredible about the World Series is 3 or 4 of the games is usually going to be played in that city. 3 or 4 of those games, people in this city are going to be able to go to. Now, yeah, I mean, don't kid yourself into thinking you're not going to pay a lot of money to go to those games, but there'll be tickets that can be had. There'll be an ability for you to walk around by the ballpark, even if you don't get to go inside to the game. Hopefully they'll have monitors set up outside in the parking lot or something like that, or one of those bars down there will have a spot where you can go and watch the game and be in on the action. I just think it's it'll be an incredible experience for a lot of people. But to have it in town here, to have people talking about it, even to have people complaining, I couldn't get to work because traffic was jammed by the ballpark because of the World Series. Think about that for a second. Nobody has ever been able to say that in the history of Seattle before. If you can complain about that, well, heck, you got something. Nobody can be able to say those words. Nobody has been able to say those words before. And with a little bit of luck, either Sunday or Monday night, they'll be able to say it. They'll be able to say, well, traffic, oh my God, don't go downtown. Traffic for the World Series is horrible. We'll see the traffic reporters on TV in the morning saying, well, this is your World Series traffic report. Stay away from King Street today. Stay away from Occidental. Stay away from Edgar and Dave. Those will be your traffic reports. By the way, up here on my end of the woods, up in Edmonds, Linwood, I don't know if you saw this, but a number of Seattle Mariners fans got a surprise when they got back to their vehicles the other night. And I guess there's by the Linwood transit, the Linwood light rail, there's a parking lot, and then there's an adjacent parking lot that's not parking for the light rail. That's owned by one of the property owners in the area. And instead of doing a smart thing and having somebody stand there and say to people, don't park here, don't park in my empty lot, you had two courses of action there. You could have at least hired some kid for, $20 an hour to stand out there with a flag, with a red flag, and say, I'm sorry, but we don't want anybody parking here. Or you could have called your towing company, which I believe was Mary's Towing, and said, listen, don't worry about it. Let them park there. What are we doing on the lot anyway? We're doing nothing. Right? We're hanging out we're not using the lot. Let them park there. And that would have been a very cool thing to do. People would have, for the rest of your days, thought of you as the cool guy who owns that lot up on, I forget even what street it was, 128th or something like that. But no. The tow operator, and I don't know what the property owner, how much they had to do with it, because a lot of times these property owners just give the towing companies an authorization to go tow anybody on in a spot, in a place that they have illegally parked. And listen, it's not hard to see the property owner's point. You don't want people on your property. You don't want people tamping down. Whatever reason, you don't want people on your property. That's why you have a fence up on it. That's why, and you should probably figure out that if the property is unpaved and it has a fence around it, that's probably not the brightest idea in the world to park your car there. Okay? But, people are giddy. They're happy. They want to get to the ballpark. They pull in. They see the open lot. They figure, oh, nobody's using this lot. What the heck? And they pull in. They park their car. They see other people doing it, so they figure it's okay. Right? Oh, here, this guy's parking. Look, there's 25 cars in the lot already. Unfortunately, the tow operators make their money on this kind of thing, and they see a lot full of cars, and they're like, you know, bing, it's my World Series, it's my Grand Slam. And they get busy, they go to work, they call people in. Let's get as many of these in as we can. They're getting, I don't know, $200, $300 a car to tow these cars in, and they ruin the experience for people. Now, normally, I would say, you know, you parked someplace you shouldn't have parked. You screwed it up. But I think in this circumstance, if I were the owner of the towing company, okay, if I were the owner of Mary's Towing, if I were the guy who towed all those cars, I would say, look, send a truck out there, cost me $55 or $60. Okay, it's not going to cost you more than that. It takes an hour to tow a car, let's say, tops. So $65, let's say. Instead of the impound fee, instead of this fee and that fee, give me what it cost me. As a gesture of goodwill, as a gesture of we're all in this Mariner thing together. You made a mistake, but like baseball, there's redemption for your mistakes many times. So I would say to them, you know what? Give me $65. That's what we'll charge your credit card. You get your car back, and don't park there again. Or if I was the owner of the property, I would probably if I was the owner of the property, I'd probably station somebody there in charge for parking. I mean, you got the lot, you're sitting there, people want to use it. Would seem to be an excellent opportunity to, put a couple of people to work for a few days and earn some money instead of just letting the lot sit there and causing people pain. I don't know if the lot was marked or not, to be honest with you. I don't know if there were signs up, it's not legal to park here, and people just disregarded the signs. If that was the case, it makes it a little tougher for people to, if you just disregarded a sign. But if there was no signs up there, or if there was one sign up there, wouldn't it be a great goodwill gesture to just say to the people that ran the towing company or the property owners, that's it. Give me $65. Give me $60. Whatever it costs me to tow that car, and don't do it again. Because this is a one-time in the spirit of the Mariners going to the, possibly getting into the World Series. You don't want to ruin, because then you'll always think of the Mariners run to the World Series this year, as those people will think of it as, not only did I see the Mariners get to the World Series, but somebody did a really cool thing. I made a mistake, and they helped me fix it. It's good PR. That's all it is. It's good public relations. You'd make all of the papers. You get your name smattered all over the place, and you smile. And I'm sure that you get a reward from a higher source, a higher power, a higher thing would look down upon you when you got to the gates of heaven and say. Although most tow truck drivers don't believe there's a heaven. I think most of them believe they're going to hell. But that's only from my experience in the towing business many years ago. I don't know. It will be. It'll be. I don't count on that. It's just my wishful thinking more than anything else. Sometimes I can be a very wishful thinker. Sometimes I can be one of those people that think that the world runs on extreme kindness, and I think it does in many places and in many ways. But what kind of thing would that be? What kind of feeling would that be? Anyway, uh, and by the way, if the owner does happen to listen, the owner of Mary's Towing happens to hear this and does that, please somebody let me know because I'd want to give him props on the air, give him props on the show. I think it'd be a spectacular goodwill gesture for some people who really didn't drive up there with the thought of I'm going to park on your lot. They just wanted to get to the ball game and they got excited about it, and they thought that this would be a great thing. Sometimes people don't always do things with malicious intentions. People many times do things just to just to get to just because they get excited. And I think it's a spectacular thing. I hope that they do that. And I feel sorry for people who wound up getting their vehicles towed. Just feels bad. Doesn't feel right. All right. So we have the game tomorrow. We have what else going on? All right, let's talk some car stuff because this is the second week in a row. Friday nights are great nights for the Mariners, but they're bad nights for me because I want to I got to talk to you a little bit about cars and about things that are going on in the car world, and I haven't been able to do that because uh, last week was that incredible extra innings game that just blew us all out of the water. And that was a wonderful thing to see. And then this week, of course, was last night's Grand Slam. So Friday nights have been good for the Mariners, not so good for Drive Time Radio, because I really should stick to the things that. But, I get excited about this. I mean, it's one of the things that make me miss doing sports talk all the time. Is the fact that, you and I would get together after a game like this on the radio in the morning and we'd talk about it. And it would be, it was like I had this whole bunch of friends to talk to about it. Somebody stopped me this week. I was in a store and they stopped me and they said, well, can I talk to you about the Mariners for a minute? And I looked at them and I said, can you talk to me about the Mariners for a minute, my friend? I love talking, I love talking about this ball club, and I love talking about the guys on it. And I love imparting whatever little knowledge I have about it to people. And I love, just the whole setup of being looked at as somebody who had something to do with baseball in this town. It's such an incredible feeling. So yes, you want to talk baseball, you call me you see me out in the streets, but don't be intimidated. Stop me and we'll talk. I love it. I love, I mean, when I lived in New York, that's how things were. I'd walk up, I'd go to the street. I hung out in a bar or places that I frequented, and people would talk to me about the Mets and about what was going on and about this and about that. And would we rather have this player than that player? There was so many, facets of it. And I loved it. I loved the fact that you could, that we had this kind of community, that people got to talk about it. And I was somebody they felt comfortable talking about it with. So it was a great thing. Oh, man. The stuff is good, but my throat gets kind of raw at times. So I hope you appreciate it. That when I stop and take these drinks, so I can coat my throat a little bit. I don't know if you get to coat my throat. I like to coat my throat. Oh, Vincent. I sometimes feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I really do. All right. Couple of things automotive wise that I did want to get to this morning. We do a little bit of a limited automotive thing, and I hope that we are doing the same thing next Friday. I hope that we get a chance to, on Fridays for the next 2 or 3 Fridays, we have to open up, spending a half hour or 45 minutes talking about baseball before we talk about anything else. One of the great things that happened over the last week or two is that Chevrolet announced that they are coming out with their new Bolt, the new 2027 Bolt. Now, that's was Chevy's first all-electric car. There was the Volt before that, but then they came out with the Bolt. And the Bolt was wildly successful. 2020, what was it? 2021, 22, 23, 24 Bolt were wildly successful. Successful enough that Chevy made 2 other cars that were all electric. And the Bolt, the 2027 Chevy Bolt, which they suspect is going to go on sale early next year, looks a lot like the other Bolt that it's replacing. There's not a lot of difference in the Bolt EUV and the Bolt that will be rolling off the lines early next year. The one thing that you notice is the continuity of design. It's kind of hard to look and see and say, this is a different car, but it's a hugely different car. While the exterior of the car is going to look much the same, it will be hard for you to tell the difference between the old Bolt and the new Bolt. The entire architecture under the the battery, the chassis, all of it is going to be different. Is going to be this architecture, uh, this platform that General Motors has developed. It'll even be made at a different plant. The other one was made in Michigan. This one's going to be made in Kansas. And the last Bolt of the first generation was built in December 2023. But it's a car that the company felt pressure from people has been incredible to bring that car back because it was a success. Now, I actually got one of my best friends, JD, to buy one of these cars. During COVID, he needed a car. And I said, the car you want, the car that's best for you in your situation is the Chevy Bolt. It's the right size. It has the technology you need. It's really this is the car for you. He lives in California, down in Half Moon Bay, and he's got his own house where he can put a charger in. He doesn't drive a lot of miles. He takes a couple of long road trips a year. And California is pretty rich with charging stations. So almost wherever he goes, he runs into a charging machine. He can charge his car. So that's a very good thing. He also has some a situation that makes it sometimes hard for him to charge a car, but he has done it. And he says that this is the perfect car for him. It takes him all around town. It doesn't pollute. It uses electricity with an eyedropper. He goes home, he plugs it in, and the next morning when he's got to go someplace, the car's ready to go. What he's got to do is unplug it, close the little hatch door, and he's ready to go. And the other thing about the Bolt is that it was reasonably priced. I mean, he bought this Bolt, I think, somewhere in the area of $38,000. And again, it's like 2 years ago. And it was pretty loaded. I mean, a top-of-the-line loaded Bolt, they were looking to get $45,000 for. And I just looked around and looked around and looked around until I found one that would have the right amount of equipment on it that he needed and was reasonably priced, and that the dealer wasn't going to take you for, $10,000 over list price, which at that time was hard. But this car seems to have a lot of improvements over the old Bolt. The 2022 Bolt EUV was rated with a range of 247 miles. Chevy says that the 2027 Bolt will have a range of 255 miles. But it will charge much faster. According to stats that Chevy has put out already, this car is going to go from a 10 to 80% charge time in 30 minutes. Actually, 26. And they did a road trip in 4 new Bolts from Detroit to LA. And 26 minutes was the average, and this will make this car a better road trip car. Part of the drawback with the Bolt, it's not the greatest road trip car. This car was developed and is much more of an urban, car for around uh, the city. But my friend lives in a rural part of California, and he says that he has no trouble finding charging stations. And maybe on top of all of that, the other thing about the Bolt that's going to be really good and really is making the manufacturers aware is they're going to bring this car in under $40,000. As a matter of fact, if I were a betting man, I would say that this car is probably going to come in probably 38,000 for a well-equipped one, 37,000. You'll probably be able to buy it as cheaply as if you don't get the Super Cruise and things like that. You'll probably see an MSRP of low 30s. Maybe even cracking down to the 29 mark. So if you want a car that doesn't have all of the options, you'll probably be able to buy the car for 29 to 31, somewhere in there. It'll be more money when they first come out because a lot of people are going to want them, I think. No word on whether Chevy is going to pick up the $7,500 when it comes to the tariffs or the credits that was taken away by the Trump administration. But we'll see. We'll see how it works out. There's a little ways to go yet. You're going to have 20. You still got a year and change to go. And as we have seen in the car markets, a year and a half is an eternity. So much can change in a year and a half. So really a good idea. Keep listening to this show. Keep your ears on all of the different automotive people that you listen to, because we'll have the news. We're, getting updates from Chevrolet on what's going to happen with this car and how the pricing and everything will change over time. But many, many people are interested in this car. But a lot of people talk to me in the last 2 weeks about the Bolt and what I know about it. And I'm endeavoring to get somebody from Chevy on the show. It might even happen next week to talk about this car and to talk about what it means to you, what it means to Chevy, and what it means to electric cars in general for this particular car to be successful. We're in a period of turmoil right now with electric cars. We're just not sure how this is all going to work out. What a lot of people are saying to do with cars right now, because of the price of cars, is to lease a car for 2 years and then see where the market is after that, which I tend to think is a pretty good idea. Because when you get to, you lease the car, especially if you're not a high mileage user, you lease the car, you have it for 2 years. After 2 years, you can either buy the car for the agreed price, or you give it back to the dealer. And you're not on the hook for anything. You're not on the hook for repairs. You're not on the hook for nothing except the maintenance of the car. And I've never been a big fan of leasing, but I think in this case, you can you're much better served to lease it and then see where the market is in 2 years and go from there. I think that's something that is a wise idea for really almost any car any new car these days. It's just so, loans are so much, uh, everything is kind of screwy at the moment. And so if you're one of those people, you got to have a new car, you have to adjust your thinking a little bit. And I'm not a big fan of leasing cars, but when I look at the market and I look at what's going on right now, especially if I'm in the market for an electric car or a hybrid, I think I'm really looking at leasing right now and how that would be the smartest move uh, right now. Again, we don't know what's going to happen in the months to come, but I suspect that it's going to be a very volatile situation. Very volatile situation. So that's probably the biggest story uh, that I saw in the books over the last week or so. Um, there was also we also had a story, but I think I'm going to save it for next week about, well, actually, you know what? I said I was going to do this story this week. So let me pull it out of my file real quick. Because I thought it was a pretty interesting story. And if you're shopping for cars, I wanted to see what I wanted to you to look at this and see uh, what we could pull out of this. All right. So this was from a website that I frequent a lot. If you're a car freak, really a good car. It's a really good website to check. It's called IC Cars, and they sell cars on the website, but they have a lot of valuable information. They have a pretty good research team, and they did a story a couple of weeks ago about the longest lasting vehicles. So these are vehicles that you can buy and expect that you are going to hold on to this vehicle for a long time. If you're thinking of having a car for a couple of weeks, a couple of a year or so, then letting it go, you're probably not interested. But if you're one of those people that buy a car and hang on to it for a long time, these 25 vehicles have the best chance of reaching 250,000 miles. That's right, 250,000 miles. It's 25 vehicles that they've put in their survey, and I don't think there's a lot of surprises here, to be honest with you. The company with the most cars in the longest lasting vehicle rankings is Toyota. They have 10 models in the top 25 longest lasting. Honda ranked second. They have 5 models in the top 25. The longest lasting vehicle type would be SUVs. They have 11 out of the top 25 positions. And hybrids are very durable cars. They're showing their value. They have 5 models making the top 25 list, up from just 3 last year and none in 2023. They've been doing this study since 2013, and the list features vehicles with between a 9.1% and a 39.1% predicted chance of reaching 250,000 miles. The average car has about a 4.8% chance of reaching 250,000 miles. The Acura MDX, which is the lowest ranked model in the top 25, is nearly twice as likely as as the average car to reach 250,000 miles. The Toyota Sequoia is at the top of the list. They are more than 8 times as likely to hit 250,000 miles. Got a 39.1% chance of lasting more than 250,000 miles. Also on this list in the top 10, the Sequoia comes in at number 1. The Forerunner comes in at number 2. The Highlander Hybrid comes in at number 3. The Tundra comes in at number 4. The Lexus IS comes in at number 5. The Tacoma at number 6. The Avalon at number 7. The Lexus GX at number 8. The Lexus RX, which is a hybrid, at number 9. And number 10 is the Honda Ridgeline. The top American car on the list is the Chevrolet Silverado 1500. That comes in at number 13 with a 12.9% chance of lasting 250,000 miles. The next American car that comes in on the list at number 16 is the Chevy Suburban. Number 18, the GMC Sierra 1500, which is almost identical to the Silverado. And those are the only American cars that are in the top 25 list. There's even, as we said, a minivan in this thing. The top economy car on this list would be, it looks like the Honda Civic. Has a 10.9% chance of clocking over 250,000 miles. The Honda CR-V, which many people I know bought, is at number 20 with a 10.6 chance of clocking more than 250,000 miles. The Camry Hybrid, which is a car I drove out here from Pittsburgh 5 years ago, a wonderful car. Toyota nails it with this car. 10.2% chance of hitting 250,000. The Avalon Hybrid, 9.7% chance in at number 24. And the Acura MDX at number 25. So Toyota really robs the list. Really tops the list with the most cars on it. Only 3 American cars on here: the Silverado, the Suburban, and the Sierra 1500. Nissan places a car on the list, one of the more underrated vehicles out there, which is the Nissan Titan. And it's nice to see Nissan with a car on the list. So many documented problems with Nissans as of lately, so that you feel good about seeing them on the list. So I wanted to get that information out there to you. Again, it's on IC Cars. You can read the article a lot more. But 2025 is the longest lasting cars. The Toyota Sequoia at the top of the list. And as I said, the economy car is the the Pilot's on there if you want to, but the Prius, the CR-V, and the Camry seem to take the top places. A lot of SUVs on the list. So that's again, if you're looking for bang for your buck, those are some of the cars that you should be listening or looking at. Not listening to. Shouldn't be looking at the cars. You should be listening to them. All right. Let's get ready to wrap it up. We do want to do we want to do the Vinnie, what are you driving this week? Because I'm driving a good one this week. I really like this car. Um, let's get it set up here. Hyundai Ioniq 9. I don't remember the 5 and a 9. This one is the 9. And listen, this is a great luxury motor coach at, I mean, I don't want to say a luxury price, but from its design to its spaciousness inside to its high tech, there's very little uh, that you can say bad about this vehicle. I mean, this is one of those vehicles that you get in and you look around and you probably spend more time playing with stuff in it than anything else. From the various lighting schemes that are on the outside that provide you both safety and visibility in the dark or in the dark at night, or when you're stopped on the side of the road, to the safety equipment inside the car, to uh, the comfort you feel when you're in the car. The interior is way above grade. Hyundai does a great job with the interior. The only thing I really don't like, to be honest with you, is I thought that this scheme inside the interior for the dashboard wasn't the greatest. But that's a matter of taste more than anything else. And if you really are thinking about buying one, you can always figure something out with that. But the dash was clear. It was one solid screen going across. It had one pedal driving, a flat floor, which gives you an immense more amount of room in a car. I feel comfortable, very comfortable seats with the material that's found in much higher end cars. Now, I'm not saying that this is not a high end car because the top of the line model is like $79,000. But again, as a big car, 3-row SUV to move people along, so far in my driving of this thing, and I've driven it a couple of days now, I'll take it out on the road today or tomorrow and up for a nice ride. It really gives you a lot of space, a lot of room to put stuff, a lot of seat room, comfortable seats, and you even get a frunk. Now, you can't throw a lot in the frunk because between the charging cord and some other stuff that's in there, it doesn't give you a ton of room. But at least this stuff isn't hanging out all over the back. They've found a space for it in the front of the vehicle. So this is the Ioniq 9. Uh, Very comfortable, adjustable suspension. It really gives you you know not just a switch that gives you a sport mode and but it gives you also in this vehicle a better you can get if you want a better feel of the road, if you want a lighter steering, if you want um, more range, less range, if you have a feeling that you want to get a little bit more of an engaged drive on the highway, you can switch it into sport and you'll get that. If you want an eco setting where you give up a little of the engagement and get a lot more in a sense of range, you can switch it into a range. It'll give you 335 miles, which is big for a vehicle this size. Got a 10-year, 100,000 mile warranty on the battery. Seating for 6 or for 7. Your warranty at the bottom end is 5 years, 60,000 miles on everything but the battery. Battery, you get the 10-year, 100K. And as I say, this 2026 Ioniq 9 is about the most modern vehicle that you'll drive out there. As I've said before, and we've talked about this with our friend John Vincent, and we've talked about it with several guests that we've had on the show. Um, the Koreans are really ahead of the curve on electric. Their partnership with LG Electric really has enabled them to come up with and solve some of the problems that the Americans and the Germans and everybody else have kind of come up with in their cars. They seem to have been able to solve it. So you get the 335-mile range for the rear-wheel drive version, 311 miles for the dual motor big version, and in mid-size SUVs, I mean, this is now we're driving, I believe, the Performance Limited, which is about mid-range in the group. They come with an S that'll run you as inexpensive as $60,000, all the way up to a performance calligraphy design, which has everything in it, the seats, to this, to that, the massaging seats and everything. This is $79,090. But you're getting a choice of three powertrains, 215 horsepower for the rear-wheel drive. The performance all-wheel drive will get you a combined with all the motors and everything, 422 horsepower. It takes on, it's a quick little ride. I mean, I noticed getting on the freeway with this thing. It takes off. It's got oomph to it. So, and again, I haven't taken it on the Joe yet. I'm going to get there this weekend and take it out on the Joe and see exactly what it does. They claim top speed for this thing, the all-wheel drive, is 124 miles per hour. I don't doubt it, the way this thing feels. It feels like it's a competitive vehicle. But what is really nice about this vehicle, again, is just getting in it, you feel like you're in a 2026 car. All the technology is there. All of the, the different stuff that you think about. Like one of the things I noticed when I was going in the back, there's a button that puts not only the rear seat down, but the middle seat down too at the same time. So you're not, if you got to put some kind of load in the back, you're not just running around putting seats down here, putting seats. One touch of the button and boom, everything goes flat in the car. It's a very attractively designed car, except for one thing. I can't figure out what those things are above the wheel wells. It almost looks like they were going to put something there and then forgot about it, so they just put a piece of metal over it. I don't quite get that, but I just thought that and again, I'll give you more information about this. I just thought it was a solid car, solid effort in a big car. Do I like this better than the Kia EV9? I haven't quite decided yet. I mean, I liked the EV9. I thought that was a real solid car. But this has a lot of the attributes of the EV9. It has the tall roof. It has the visibility. You can see wonderfully out of any spot in this car. So I think that it gives you a lot to talk about. Your EV, the EV9 also had big visibility too. I like cars that are tall and you can see out of. I'm not a big fan of getting scrunched and not being able to, not good visibility. Although the Hyundai has the thing that they put in to most of their cars now. When you make a turn, a little screen comes up on the dashboard and shows you what's in your blind spot, whether it be left side or right side. So I think that's a good thing. Good cameras, solid cameras. and plenty of cubbies and stuff to store stuff. So, Hyundai Ioniq 9, we'll give you further report, a full review of it coming up in a future edition of Drive Time. But it's without a doubt, it's certainly one of the more interesting and certainly one of the more roomier cars that I have driven this year. All right, that's going to wrap up Drive Time for this Saturday morning. And thank you so much for sticking with us. I know we went long, but I wanted to get the baseball talk in as well. Why don't you join me Monday morning with Michael Knight? We'll be here at 10:10 or thereabouts, and we'll talk baseball. We'll talk Mariners. We'll talk about the things that need to be talked about in this country, as we do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 o'clock. I want to remind you that this show is brought to you by George Jackson Promotions. George, if you need business promotional items, anything from jackets to calendars, to any kind of business promotional item that you can think of, T-shirts for your Little League team, anything that says to somebody, this is a token of my appreciation. I know at Christmas time, the holiday time, we want to give out things to show how much we value our customers. Well, George can come up with an item for you, maybe something that nobody's used before. There's always new items hitting the the market, and George is up on all of them. George Jackson, not only is he a real human, and you get to talk to George Jackson, and you do business with George Jackson, he also makes sure that you get this thing called service. When he says something's going to be there, it's going to be there. If not, he's going to have a damn good reason why. And in this ever-changing world of tariffs and different things that you have to navigate, George is going to make sure that you get the best deal, the best way to get it into the country, and the best ability, the best ability to get a good price on the item you want. And also suggest different items if you're at a loss, you want to do something, but you don't quite know what to do to reward maybe some of the people that work for you, maybe your customers. A simple thing like pens with your name on it, all the way up to, statues of me with an inscription, I love New York Vinnie. I mean, he's got it all. So give him a holler. Talk to him if you're looking for that kind of stuff for your business. George Jackson Promotions, you can find him on the internet. You can find him on Facebook, George Jackson Promotions. Just search him out, and his page will be there. I really, really, really suggest that if you're thinking about this kind of stuff for the holidays, that you get in touch with him right away. Talk to him. He'll come up with suggestions for you, and he'll treat you right. Make sure you tell him that you heard about him on the show and that you're a friend of mine, and that, he'll make sure he takes good care of you. All right? That's George Jackson Promotions. GJP is the way to go for all of your business promotional items needs. And give him a holler. As I said, he will take care of you. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week. I'll join you next Saturday morning at 11 o'clock or so for another edition of Drive Time. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you Monday morning with Michael, if the Lord's willing, and the creek don't rise. Peace, love, Nanashevitz, and most of all, go Mariners. See ya.